join us for our welcome song.
Good morning.
Are we ready?
We are one in the Spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in this world. And we live in this unity so peace may be restored. And they'll know we are Spirit by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Spirit by our love. Work with each other, we will work side by side. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. We will guard everyone's dignity and stand up for their pride. And they'll know we're God's children by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're God's children by our love. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that love is in this land. And they'll know we're together by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're together by our love. And they'll know we're together by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're together by our love.
I'm Mandy Russell, and welcome to Unity Church of the Hill Country, where we offer a positive path for spiritual living. The Daily Word has been giving the worldwide unity movement a daily prayer since 1924. This week's reader is Phil Robertson. Okay, I'll just read it. The word for today is timeless. The affirmation is, in timeless moments in the silence, I discover myself anew. Let's all say that together. In timeless moments in the silence, I discover myself anew. I relax and let go, withdrawing my attention from my surroundings. Breathing deeply and rhythmically, my mind relaxes and my heart opens. I enter my sacred inner sanctuary. Here I have no awareness of time. I hear no words. I think no thoughts. I feel no separation. There is only the richness of silence, the awesome presence of infinite life, love, and wisdom. I am one with this presence. The time and attention I devote to my regular practice of meditation builds deep, abiding peace and clarity in my consciousness. In these timeless moments, I discover I have all I need, enough strength, understanding, love, and time to progress along my path and accomplish all that is mine to do. In Scripture's Revelation 21:1, it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." Let's say the affirmation again. In timeless moments of silence, I discover myself anew. The Unity movement started in 1889 with answered prayer. Myrtle Fillmore was healed of tuberculosis. We'll be honored to pray with you. You can request prayer at b.unity.org. You also can place a request in our lobby prayer box or on unityhillcountry.org and click on the Ministries tab. Please take a moment now to silence your phone so it does not disturb our gathering. Please join me in affirming our mission and vision statements. Together, to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. And as well as Unity's statement of faith, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good, the omnipotent. We're getting ready to sing our congregational song and meditation.
Most of you will know this song, and please help us out on the chorus. Love is but the song we sing. It fears the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, or make the angels cry. No, the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your sister. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Some may come and some may go. We will surely pass. Yes, our time is precious here. Let's make each moment last. We are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody is together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just when he unlocks them both, it's here at your command. Everyone, come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your sister. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your sister. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now. Good job, everybody. Our thoughts, our prayers,
seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Past or concerns about the future. Just be in the moment where we feel that presence of God. That presence is always here, not only surrounding us, but radiating from every cell in our body. Feel your feet flat on the floor, the chair against your lower back, and just let that energy be grounded. We are open and receptive to God's living Spirit of truth. We see, we know that we are one with each other in a grand wholeness of the universe. In unity, whenever we take time to meditate, we take time to pray, we pray for others. Bring to mind any individuals, any groups, any situations you'd like to pray for now. I'll include all of the prayer requests received here at Unity of the Hill Country on our website and here in the prayer box in our lobby. And without knowing the specifics, we can pray by seeing and knowing that the divine substance, the divine potential, and the divine perfection are in and expressing through each of these requests as wholeness, as its highest good, today and every day hereafter. We see and know that Unity of the Hill Country is thriving consistently in consciousness, people, and revenues, today and every day hereafter. This God presence as Unity of the Hill Country is a divine magnet, attracting anyone who can benefit from who we are and what we are about, attracting health, prosperity, love, and joy to Unity of the Hill Country and all who are guided here, today and every day hereafter. I now encourage you to take the words I'm about to speak as your own words, your own words in this prayer this morning. As I look back on my life, and as I anticipate the days to come, I recognize the challenges that I may have had in just getting along with other people. It is so easy to prejudge, to see a situation or a person and call back to my previous experiences. Can I let go? Can I say there is an opportunity for spiritual growth in any situation? I see and I know that every situation in my life is an opportunity for that growth. Rather than building walls, I choose to build bridges. And as I prepare for 3 minutes of silence, I contemplate the divine idea of harmony in the silence. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As I move through this coming week, I recognize each opportunity to express this divine idea of harmony. When I'm confronted by things that I'd prefer not happen, I take a moment to get centered. I'll use the principles of nonviolent communication and willingness to see the divine in others. And I choose not to deal with people, but to deal with a person. I build bridges, not walls. And for my ever-growing awareness of the omnipotence, the omniscience, and the omnipresence of God, I am grateful. I pray these things in the name and the nature and the power that we know is symbolized by Jesus Christ. And as we draw our focus back to the sanctuary, ponder the words of the invocation written by one of our co-founders, Charles Fillmore. We are now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. We acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. and by divine wisdom now erase our mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. Amen.
And now, Brad Gilbert.
Morning, y'all. Everybody awake with the time change? Hello, my friend, it's been a while. All our old clothes are back in style. We went our separate ways, only to return to face a lesson we failed to learn. We didn't understand the truth. We were blinded by the eyes of youth. Time kept on moving, and a change has come. And you think that I don't know where you're coming from. Well, I feel just like you, and I cry just like you. But I heal just like you. And under my skin, I'm just like you. You gave your love and your innocence, and they took away your confidence. I'm not those women, and I'm not those men. Put your arms around me, I am your friend. 'Cause I feel just like you, and I cry just like you. But I heal just like you. And under my skin, I'm just like you and everybody else. When I get hurt, I cry for help. And I've got seeds that God only knows. And God knows I feel just like you, and I cry just like you. And I heal just like you, and I break down just like you. And I feel just like you, and I cry just like you. But I'm weak just like you, and under my skin, I'm just like you.
Here's a few reasons why people don't go to church.
I can't come to church until I get my life together.
Church is how I got my life together.
Church is filled with a bunch of hypocrites. And there's always room for one more. All they care about is your money.
They care about me, not about my money.
Is there some kind of dress code? Yes, the code is wear some clothes. Church, it just makes me nervous. I was nervous at first, and then I felt right at home. I'm not sure I believe everything that you believe.
But you can still belong.
Church is for wimpy, girly men.
You want to sit out again?
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't want me.
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't be worried.
You can come to my church even if you were brought up Catholic,
Baptist,
Methodist,
Jewish,
Mormon,
Lutheran, Pentecostal,
Presbyterian,
Church of Christ.
Southern Baptist.
a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing.
See, it's not about a religion, it's about a relationship.
So please, come to my church.
Where nobody's perfect,
Where beginners are welcome.
where socks are optional, but grace is required.
Where forgiveness is offered.
Where hope is alive.
And where it's okay to not be okay. Really.
Okay, I am now turned on. I want to encourage you to invite someone, be willing to share this with other people. And you have some wonderful opportunities coming up. We've got, of course, the potluck next Sunday. It's St. Patrick's Day. We've got Easter coming up in 3 weeks. Many people, that's like maybe the only Sunday of the year they consider, going to a spiritual community of some sort. So I want to encourage you to just think of people in your sphere of influence. At some point over this year, you're willing to reach out to, say, 5 people and say, come check this out. Check it out for 3 weeks. If you don't like it, no problem. It's not for everybody. But we have an interesting opportunity coming up here. Of course, we had this, annular eclipse back in October, which just seemed to be, no big deal. But this full eclipse coming up here in April is really building some momentum. And what we've discovered is that the city has taken all of its parking lots and been renting parking spaces. And all of their lots are now full. And they've rented, shuttles to haul people down here, to the park. So what I wanted to see is, can we get a few people who would be willing to volunteer to be a parking lot attendant from like say 9 until 1. Brad is, cooking up some ideas. We can actually probably sell a lot of these spaces online. It's just a matter of checking people when they come. So if you're willing to do that, please, we've got a sign-up sheet over there, or just shoot us an email here at the church. Let us know. We want to get some sense before we start putting it out there that, yeah, we've got enough people to kind of cover part of that shift or whatever. So you figure you got 4 hours there, and by that point, And the nice thing is from here, you can walk to the park. So let us know one way or the other. Okay. Good idea. Yeah, we are considering doing that. Well, I can get onto a tangent. Okay, time for the virtual hug. Good morning. Whenever I have an opportunity to do an orientation session for someone who wants to actually officially become a member of the congregation, I talk about family systems theory. Family systems theory is that no matter what your denomination, there's something about a spiritual community or a church in which people want to heal their stuff. And so what happens is people will project all of their family system onto other people in the congregation. Carla and me as ministers, we get the parent stuff. But you will get the brother and sister stuff. Or the board of trustees will get the mom always liked you best stuff, that kind of stuff comes up. And, so you'll be talking to someone, and you're, I know this isn't about me. So tell me more. What's going on with you? And when we dig down a little bit deeper, we can find out, okay, what's the underlying issue here? You probably have a need that needs addressing. And if we dig a little deeper, let's see, can we help you heal it here? Or can we help you at least become aware of it so that we can find other people in the community who can help you? Truth is, getting along with people is really about maybe 2% about the person and 98% about the perception of the person, the reacting to a situation. Would I rather be right or be happy? In the Gospel of Matthew, in the 22nd chapter, there's an interesting statement here. Jesus has been teaching people, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, were just really miffed about this guy, teaching people to be empowered. And so in the 34th verse, it says, when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they decided to work together. And one of them, a lawyer, asked Jesus a question to trick him. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the scriptures? And Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all of your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second one is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the scriptures. Did you hear they were trying to get them to say, okay, that one of the 10 commandments, Oh, and by the way, if you want to have a good laugh but not safe for work, get onto YouTube, put in George Carlin and the 10 Commandments, and you'll hear this wonderful, profanity-laced 10-minute observations on the 10 Commandments, as only George Carlin could do. Now, it does say here, love your neighbor as yourself. But what if you are self-loathing? What if you have poor self-esteem? What if you're lashing out at other people because they're not behaving the way you want them to? And I also notice it says, love your neighbor as yourself, but it doesn't say, hey, you get to choose your neighbors. We don't get to choose our neighbors or our family members. And as I've shared with you, nobody's perfect, like it said in the video. I've got a sister who's been estranged from the rest of the family for 12 years. And here I was a trained mediator, and I did everything I could to just, hey, let's talk about this. But so I had to finally just let go. Said, all right, She skipped Dad's funeral and everything else. Now, I could get very judgmental about that. I got to admit, she raised my ire. Said, are you crazy? But it's like, okay. It's one of the hardest things is to allow another person to walk the spiritual path. And you recognize this is not the path I want to take, but I'm willing to let them go. willing to let them do what it is they need to do. And sometimes what they're doing is teaching me the limits of my unconditional love. So, in the Gospel of Luke, 6th chapter, 22nd verse, Jesus goes a step further by saying, love your enemies and do good to them that spitefully use you. So I didn't say this was going to be easy. However, I decided the title is Can't We All Get Along? And this is, of course, after those wonderful words of Rodney King back in 1992. Can't we all just get along? Well, it's been a challenge, hasn't it? But we have this concept of namaste or namaskar, which comes from the Eastern traditions of, okay, I'm going to pause for a moment and recognize this is an opportunity for growth. It's interesting to be able to say namaste or behold the Christ or the divine in someone that you like. But what about the people you don't like? I remember hearing a recording from Ram Dass from the 1990s, and he was talking about how he has this little meditation altar, and one of the picture frames has always got that politician that he finds the most challenging to see the divine in. So, can we truly express love to someone who isn't expressing love to us? I've got to admit, it's been interesting, challenging 2 months for me. I mean, it's just a curveball after curveball. I know last week I was able to print out my stuff, and my laptop computer crashed. We figured out that it's the hard drive, and so I didn't have a computer this week. Yeah, and it was a fascinating experience for me because, okay, there's really nothing I can do, so maybe I can draw my focus off of the screen for the week. And of course, I did it with total acceptance. And I had a chance to do other things. Some of those things here at Unity or at home that I've kind of had there on the back burner. The honey-do lists. Or here it's the minister do list. So I was doing these things, and sometimes, like I said, they can be. Carla and I, the first congregation we served when we graduated the seminary in 2002 was Hollywood, Florida, which is between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. When I first got there, they decided to warn me about this one woman. I'll call her Helen. And I said, well, what about Helen? She goes, well, she'll stand up in the middle of a service and start criticizing the minister. And the one guy says, I try to sit behind her when she comes in so that if she does pop up, I can get her to sit down. Then I'm like, well, so I thought, man, I should probably have a conversation with this woman before a Sunday. And I did, and I sat down with her. And what I discovered is she's schizophrenic. And so I said, when you pop up and start yelling, the people near you get angry, they get scared, they're worried about, do they have to worry about you harming them, sort of a thing. So, yeah, I can understand that, you disagree, you don't believe all of the things that I believe, but, why don't we talk after church or at some point during the week, and down there, just like, here I found out that Wednesday and Thursday afternoons I would set aside, for just being here in the office. And so she would call ahead and say, Bob, I want somebody I want you to meet. And she had talked to a woman about how great this unity thing is. So she brought this woman in so that I could convince her. And so I just would have conversations. Usually, it's the old teacher model, like, well, what questions do you have, kind of a thing. But I had part of this conversation with Helen, it was, well, Helen, if you disagree with these things, why do you come here? She said, I grew up Mormon. And the Mormon church kicked me out. And I went to these other churches, and I started asking questions, and they kicked me out. And here I came to Unity of Hollywood, and the people greeted me. And even when I would just suddenly start to express myself, at least people wouldn't chase me out. This is the first place that I feel I experience God here in the physical world. And as the years went by, I remember this one time she popped up and I was talking about our concept of Jesus Christ. You know, granted, this guy Jesus of Nazareth may have lived 2,000 years ago, but that's not the point. The point is the symbolism, the spiritual growth. And she got up and, how can you believe that about Jesus? I'm out of here, you know. And so she got out and the people were like, and I said, okay, now, whatever you're feeling, take a deep breath and send her love. And I explained to people how she said this is the only place she said she's experienced God. And wow, you know, what a shift. So if I can do that with every person who gets in my face, yeah, it's not easy, is it? I know a few weeks ago I lost my temper with, and it's kind of like, and I apologized, and it's like, well, but like I said, I was really stressed out, you know, these last 2 months, about 8 weeks, you know. And then, of course, like I said, suddenly the laptop computer crashing. You know. Now, in the seminary, when we went through the 8 quarters, two years seminary, we developed this acronym so that when something would happen, you know, when the brown organic refuse hit the rotary oscillator, we would say AFGO, and all of our classmates would know what I'm saying is another growth opportunity. You know, so yeah, AFGO. So one of the keys in the seminary during the first 3 quarters was us to really understand ourselves, what pushes our buttons. So they called it that kind of dismantling. I remember I had a college buddy who completely rebuilt this old classic car. So we had everything laid out on the garage floor over the summer. And so that's what it was kind of like in the seminary. And what I recognize is so much of my life, I would audition people. Are you my friend? Do you think the way I do? Are you a part of my tribe? And it's of course, marriage. You know, aren't those first few months of dating wonderful? Yeah, and then suddenly we have the opportunity, okay, are we going to accept that we're not perfect and this person isn't perfect? Or are we going to build the case for separation? Yeah, and I did that. Like I've shared with you, I got divorced back in 1986, and that's when God sent me Carla. And Carla loves me, warts and all, right, honey? So we have our preferences. Regardless of the preferences, can we say namaste or namaskar? And the key is to just look past those outer appearances. And so are we willing to engage people not like us? You know, and here we are. What a wonderful week. I mean, you know, get Super Tuesday, and then, of course, the State of the Union on Thursday night. You know, the political season's really, you know, taking off, and of course, it'll really come to a head after Labor Day. So being able to have conversations with people. How do we communicate? There's a polarization in our politics, but it's astounding that when we look at what people believe about certain policies or issues, there's really a much more agreement than disagreement. The conservative pundit Ann Coulter, back about 20 years ago, put out a book saying, How to Talk to a Liberal If You Must. You know, and that's one of the challenges is, you know, we're not talking with each other, we're talking past each other. And rather than being right, would I rather be happy? And what I want to do is share with you these techniques I've mentioned, nonviolent communication. It's also known as compassionate communication. I've heard it called compassionate nonviolent communication. And it's by Marshall B. Rosenberg. Now, this is on your handouts. If you plug his name into YouTube, there are all these wonderful videos. In fact, I've been contemplating, he's got a series of 9 lessons on this technique. But the idea is you don't want to put people on the defensive. So if you don't want to put people on the defensive, how can you express what you're feeling? So he says the first thing is an observation. What specifically are you seeing, and can you say it without judgment? There's a difference between saying, I observe that you are an idiot, compared to, I observe that, and I'll get to an example. And then my feeling, well, how do I feel about what I'm observing? And why am I feeling this way? What's my need? And then being willing to request what it is you'd like to see happen. Now, in one of the recordings I saw from Marshall Rosenberg, he says someone said to him, oh, but what if they refuse my request? And he asked some more questions, and she said what she thought she was getting were tools to manipulate other people. He says, no, people have a right to say no. But here's an example. Let's say we have a family, 5 kids. The one teenager likes to watch TV and will take off his shoes and socks and just kind of plop them on the floor, lay on the couch, watch TV, but then when he's done, he leaves his shoes and his socks. So those of you with parenting skills, what would you do and how would you handle this situation? And he says, okay, let's say his name is Bill. Bill, I observe that I can't help but notice that you leave your shoes and socks underneath the coffee table when you're done watching TV, right? An observation. My feeling is, I feel diminished and upset because I feel that you don't care about what it is that I need. My need is to know that our house is has some sense of order and cleanliness, and I don't want to have to pick up after each of my 5 children. So my request is, would you be willing, when you're done watching TV, to notice that your shoes and socks are there, and take them, put your socks in the laundry and your shoes in your bedroom? There are times where I forget to use this technique, but it's astonishing how well it works. So it is easier, if I can get centered, like I say, okay, AFGO. God, show me the goodness, because I don't have a clue, but there's got to be something that I need to learn or teach in this situation. So we have this sense of communeness, this oneness. Each of us has the opportunity to allow this divine flow of energy to come through us to other people. So what do we want to express it as? Which of the divine ideas? Love, compassion, understanding. Without this realization, we're living as just human beings rather than spiritual beings having a human experience. So, something is missing, and that's when we start to recognize, let's look past the outer appearances. A lot of people live their lives without these divine ideas, especially this full spectrum of the divine idea of prosperity. Having all that I need in my health, my occupation, my relationships, my money, my spiritual growth. If I'm living life defensively, then I'm usually lashing out at people. Isn't it interesting that when someone is expressing confusion, anger, or depravity, deep down I can see that 2-year-old child saying, oh, won't somebody please love me? So what's going on? What's going on with the inner child that's pushing the buttons? And can we do our best to not avoid descend into manipulation? It is part of our society, just wanting to convince other people to do things the way we want them to do them. Well, that's just the way those people are. Well, the problem is we're dealing with people. Don't deal with people. Deal with a person or deal with a group of persons. Be willing to see past stereotypes, past your anger, and just be willing to open our hearts. Now, I'm not saying you have to hang out with everyone. You don't have to condone disruptive behavior, like my friend, Helen down there in Florida. Fascinating thing was, she stopped coming, so I reached out and said, well, what's going on? And talked to her husband. Turns out she's diagnosed with cancer, and she's in a sick bed in her living room. And she said, she says she'd really like you to come over and talk with her. So I came over. Carl went with me. We're talking with Helen. And yeah, she recognized she didn't have many more days to live. And she said, Bob, I really want you to do my funeral. I thought, of course I'll do your funeral. Now, I've kind of sketched this picture of this woman. Go to her funeral. There are over 200 people at this funeral. So there seemed to be a lot of people who could see the divine, in Helen. And afterwards, I had this guy come up to me and, just basically praised me for what a wonderful minister I am. But I recognized him and I realized I am talking to one of my football heroes from the 1970s. He also was a friend of Helen and her husband. So you never know what sort of things. But I do remember there's this one black celebrity who said, hey, look, I'm not asking you to come over here and give me a hug and a kiss. I'm simply asking you to leave me alone. Like I said with my sister, it's kind of like, okay. Sometimes that's just the thing we need to do. There's one other gift we can give other people, and that is to not label anything that they're doing as a final statement. There's a big difference between saying, you are a liar, compared to, you just lied to me just then. Why? See the difference? You don't want to give that finality to a particular situation. Give them the flexibility that they may change, or at least I'll certainly change my perception of them. So let's take a look at this week's takeaways. Remember, get centered, AFGO. Use nonviolent communication. See the divine in others. And don't deal with people, deal with persons. I heard a story about this family from a small town. This rancher had 2 sons, and he passed away, and his sons really got into, one of these arguments about the inheritance sort of a thing. They decided to divide the land evenly, but there was this creek that ran through the middle of it. And so Tom and Harry were always at each other's throats, and then they just stopped talking to each other. And Tom went to the guy who does construction in town, and he says, I'm going out of town for a few weeks. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to build like a 10-foot high fence so that I don't have to look out my window and see Harry's house. He's like, okay. So he gave the guy the money, went away for 3 weeks, comes back, and as he comes into town, he's like, oh God, what did I do? And all of a sudden he sees his brother Harry waving to him and running to him. He's like, oh. And Harry gives him a hug. He says, Tom, I can't, what a wonderful gesture. Here I've been kind of thinking, what do I need to do to mend fences with you? And, you did such a wonderful, and so Tom is like, And so he goes home, and what he sees is that the guy who he hired to build the fence ended up building a bridge across the creek. So he goes and talks in construction and says, I should thank you, I suppose, but what were you thinking? He said, you know, Tom, people in town are just so sick of you and Harry arguing. and it just came to me that I just need to build the bridge. So can we build bridges rather than walls? And of course, I have a video for you from Steve Hartman of the CBS News.
When most people look at the streets of the Tenderloin District in downtown San Francisco, they see drugs, crime, and homelessness.
I find the Tenderloin the most beautiful, magical place.
We looking at the same place?
This is Michael Swain.
I think we are.
His unique perspective comes from a 15-year mission to mend this neighborhood. Literally, mend this neighborhood. Once a month, this college art teacher sets up a sewing machine on the sidewalk and stitch by stitch repairs the fabric of his community, all for free.
I don't need any money. You know someone else who needs the money.
It's such a simple gesture, but it means so much to the residents here.
It's like, I got that back. Something I thought that I lost, I've got it back.
He's fixing them. He's making them better. And I don't have the money to go and just waste. Who would want to come and sit and fix people's nasty, grimy clothes?
It's a good point. And the answer has nothing to do with sewing.
The sewing machine has become more than just the tool for mending. It's also the tool for making people stop.
What stories do you have for us today, Veronica?
The tool that people feel really comfortable around.
And what a beautiful sewing machine. My God, where'd you pick this up?
Michael started sewing for strangers after he found this antique tossed to the curb. It was his way of paying it forward. But in the years since, it has become less about letting out pants and more about taking in stories, about building community.
It's teamwork. You work together, you know what I'm saying?
I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart what he does for the neighborhood.
He's a good man, and he's touching the world and healing people with his gift. And I honor him and I thank him.
Like an old pair of jeans, the Tenderloin will probably never be good as new. But thanks to people like Michael,
this material has a little stretch.
It's still got a lot of life left in it.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Steve Hartman, on the road in San Francisco.
So regardless what your spiritual gifts, passions, and talents are, just express them. Make this world a better place by doing something you love. Gospel of Matthew, 22nd chapter, 36th verse. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the scriptures? Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second one is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all of the scriptures. And may you always be open to God's guidance and grace. Yes. Thank you.
If this is your first time at Unity, we're glad you're here. We hope that you're finding a place of like-minded people and a place to belong. We teach spiritual tools that can help you no matter what is going on in your life. Please give us your email address so we can send you our weekly email of what's going on here. Generosity is important to us. We will donate $5 to a local charity of your choice. Just write your email on the sheet in our welcome packet. You can pick up a packet from an usher on the way out. We now have an opportunity to support our spiritual cooperative. If you'd like to donate by credit card, go to our website, unityhillcountry.org, and click on the donate button or scan the QR code on your handouts. Please consider setting up an automatic monthly contribution. If you would like to mail us checks, please mail them to 1016 Jefferson Street, Kerrville, Texas, 78028. We thank you in advance for your generosity. Please bless what you are giving now, and let us say our offering affirmation together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessings and my love. Freely I have received, freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive. Freely, freely I have received, freely, freely I give. Divine love is all that I give and receive. We open our hearts in gratitude as we release these donations. We send these gifts forward through our congregation and into our world, blessing all that it affects. Amen. We've reached the end of our gathering. Please circle up and join us while we do the peace song and the prayer.